Hey everybody, it's Big J's Sports Media Group, and we're coming at you with another all sports related episode. Thought I'd get on here today. There was some big news for Pittsburgh fans and some other stuff going on in the NBA championship. First game of the series down in Oklahoma City. Um, Stanley Cup is taking place right now. The Edmonton Oilers are winning 1-0. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So the Pacers win 111 to 110. Uh, OKC had them and had them pretty much handled at first, but for some reason, I don't know, Indiana turned it up on them and got back in the game. And with 0.3 of a second left, Halliburton hit a jump shot to win the game by 111 to 110. So on Sunday, June 8th, there'll be a second game, and of course, I still think it'll go 7. I think OKC will probably win on they'll win on Sunday, and then they'll take 1 or 2 in Indiana, and so we'll have it evened up 2-2, and so I think it's going to be a good one. It was a good one tonight. I know that. A really good series. Siakam also played well. Wasn't much else, but Siakam had 19 points, and basically with OKC, SGA, man, he went off again. He had 38, but not much else came from their team. Caruso had 11, but that was basically it. There really wasn't much else going on with their offense. So they got to get that fixed. They're going to lose this series probably in 6. So I don't think they'll get swept. I can see them losing because they're usually a really good offensive team, and the players don't have a problem scoring. But tonight they struggled, and it could be it was their first NBA playoff game, first playoff series, championship series game. So but I think they'll fix that. But Pacers started off just like they did with New York. New York took the lead in the beginning of the game. Looked like Knicks were going to run away with it. Pacers came back and won that first game in New York. So it looks like if they win on Sunday, that's OKC Thunder I'm talking about. Then it'll be evened up going back to Indianapolis. But they're both good teams, man, and I'm not shocked at all. I thought they would win. I thought they would win the game, OKC, because they were at home, and at first it looked that way. It looked like they would take the game, but it's one of those situations where they don't quit, man. They got a really good team, so you got to put them away and keep them down. And OKC didn't do that tonight. And SGA needs some help. He scored 38, but he needs some other help. He needs those other guys to get the ball in the basket, So, but not much else took place. NFL news. So, NFL news, Pittsburgh fans have been waiting to see what was going to happen because basically knew that Rodgers was their only possible good thing that could happen to him at the quarterback position. They didn't want to deal with Kirk Cousins. Only takes too much money. And if y'all remember on the Pat McAfee show, Aaron Rodgers said he would play for $10 million. He made a lot of money, he said, during his career. So money's not the issue. It's the love of the game. And I kind of knew this was going to happen. I told y'all the other day, it's a wink, backdoor deal. Pittsburgh, everybody was talking bad about Pittsburgh, the national media. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. He's playing them. He's going to turn around and just retire on them. No, they knew Pittsburgh wasn't going to go for that. So they had to have a deal, or else they would have went after another quarterback. So they would have went towards another quarterback earlier. But when they knew they can get Aaron Rodgers backdoor free agency, they jumped on it because they did bring Donald in. Darnold in, but they weren't going to sign him, and he went to Seattle. Justin Fields made a little bit too much. He wanted too much money, and from what I'm getting with him, he's not playing well. He looks great. He looks great in the shorts, but they said he struggled. So we'll see. Hopefully he plays well. It's just because I like the young man, but I think he's going to have a hard time as a starter in New York. And this is it for him, because he's going to be a perennial backup. And same thing with Cleveland. Everybody's talking about Shador to start. No, he shouldn't. And neither should the other kid that they just drafted. Remember, they got 5 quarterbacks. 2 of them they drafted this year in the draft. The one kid from Washington, University of Washington, and Sanders from Colorado. And then they signed Falco, Pickett, and they have somebody else. Watson, but Watson's not going to play. I can't see him playing. He's still recovering from that ACL tear. So it's basically 4 that I think have an option, and I believe Pickett or Falco will play for the starting position. And people are talking about Sanders should start. He's not even going to play. Probably an exhibition season, but those 2 guys are not going to play. So unless Pickett or Flacco goes down, he's not playing. So I can see him playing well in the exhibition season, maybe, but it's going to be tough. Kirk Cousins and Jalen Ramsey are still being talked about with trade, but there was 2 more names that came up today. Basically, Tyreek Hill. They were talking about him going to New England, and what's his name? The defensive end from Cincinnati. He basically the word is that he may sign with Philly because there's nothing getting done. Hendricks, there's nothing getting done with the Bengals, man, and I just don't get it. They struggle on defense. They got a hell of an offense. Burrows, the 2 receivers, Higgins, Chase. Their tight end's pretty good too, and that third running back, that third receiver is pretty good, and the rookie running back who's now in his 2nd year. So they got offensive weapons, but defensively they need help. Just think about it. They scored something like 35 plus points last year and lost the majority of those games. They had us. We played them down there. We beat them 44-39, and we just outscored them. And then so basically it's one of those situations where they just need some help. They need help defensively, and they don't seem like they're taking that serious at all. So Hendricks is looking for a trade because he realizes he's not going to get the money that he wants, and the Eagles need some help on their defensive line. So I can see them. That rumor may be true if they can work something out. But knowing Cincinnati, they're not going to be realistic. They're going to want a mountain and a molehill from the Philadelphia Eagles for him. And if you're not going to pay him, man, just get rid of him. Let him go play somewhere else. If you don't want to play him. And the problem is they know that they have those 2 rookies that they signed on the defensive line, and they can't depend on that just right yet. So they want us to keep him around, but they want him to keep his mouth shut and just take what they give him. They offered him $28 million, and he felt that was a slap in the face. So very insulting, So he's like, I'm out. I want to, he's already talking about a trade. So we'll see how they handle that. And Tyreek Hill, at the end of last season, a day later, he said he wanted out of here. He said, "Get me out of here." Remember that quote? He said, "Get me out of here." Get me out of Miami. And then he was quiet about it. And now his name's coming back up. And New England probably take a look. Take a look. He comes with a lot of issues, man. Here in Kansas City, I mean, he played like all world. He was all pro, but he had some off the field issues. And down in Miami, he gets in trouble off the field. There's one thing to be like, remember Vontaze Burfict for the Bengals? Never had any problems off the field. Everything he did was on the field. But he did cost his team games. But he didn't cause any problems where he got arrested and things like that. Tyreek Hill just seems to be the complete opposite. Um, I don't know what it is with him, but he left Kansas City because he felt he wanted more money and he wanted to be the guy. And he left and was a free agent and went down to Miami. Thought it would be better down there, and they haven't done anything since he's been there. So, they basically gotta do something with him because he's probably gonna mess up the locker room because he wants out. Miami needs to go ahead and shop him and get some draft picks. That's what I would do. Shop him and get some draft picks. Get some draft picks for next year. So unless you can get somebody this year, but I don't know who New England would have that they would want. They're not getting that quarterback, that the second year guy. They're not getting him. So, and why would he want to go to Miami when the other quarterback is down there? He's not going to play. So they got to figure that one out. Stephon Diggs and his brother. I don't know what's going on with them. One plays for Dallas, and Stephon Diggs is the most notable one. Has not been showing up to camp in New England. His brother's being fined $500,000 a day for not showing up. So I don't know what's going on with them too. And that's crazy that both brothers they're going through the same things. But so I don't know. Stephon Diggs, man. And then there's all this madness with him and Cardi B. That's crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing until recently. So I don't get it. But it's one of those situations where sometimes a guy, especially I think he's 29 or 30 years old, he's pretty good when he's on the field. But I think he thinks he's better than he really is. And I can understand him getting paid, though. I don't knock any guy for getting paid because you're beating your body up. So get your money. But he just causes a lot of issues. This is not the first time, that he's been in the news for certain situations. So they got to figure that one out with him. And I don't think New England wants to get rid of him because he's probably their best receiver. But I don't know how Vrabel's going to deal with it. McDaniels was on TV the other day talking about it and saying that, he kind of like with Rodgers and TJ Watt here down in Pittsburgh, not showing up to voluntary workouts. The key word is voluntary. Voluntary. And that's what I was telling you about Arron Rodgers. Arron Rodgers wasn't coming to that. But he understands that mandatory minicamp, he needs to be there. So that's why he's flying into Pittsburgh tomorrow, sign his deal. And then he'll be on the field on Tuesday. Pittsburgh starts mandatory minicamp. So some of those guys, if they start missing minicamp, they're going to get fined. And then they're probably trying to tell the team something. The front office, like, get me out of here. So, I don't know. I don't know if we should get him. We need a number 2. So Gabe Davis from Jacksonville, he came in the other day to visit with Pittsburgh. I don't think he's the first option in Pittsburgh, but they're trying to see if Amari Cooper, and there's one other name that keeps coming up. And then people think Lazard may want to come over and play with his boy, but he would have to be traded because he's not a free agent. So there'd have to be a trade. And I don't think Pittsburgh is going to package too much to get him. And I don't think New York wants to give him up because that's, Justin Fields is a new quarterback, still learning the game. He needs guys to throw to. So I don't know if he'd get rid of Lazard, even if he wants to come to Pittsburgh and play with Arron Rodgers. I don't think it'll happen. And then the other news today was Terry McLaurin. Uh, I love that guy. That guy's a beast. That wide receiver, and he doesn't get the notoriety, I guess, because his team hasn't been winning. But last year, he finally got his just due. And those who know football knew he was already good. The wide receiver for the Commanders he's definitely a big time receiver. And he's not happy with negotiations right now. And he said as much. He told the front office yesterday that he wasn't happy on how the negotiations were going. He felt they were going too slow and that they weren't serious about paying him. I don't know if they'll trade him though. He's really good, and I don't know if anybody will sign him because they'd have to take on that contract because he has a contract. He wants more money, so he's looking for an extension. So you have to rework his deal or sign him for 1 year, and then let him walk. But then you get a guy like that on your team. Do you want him to walk? And like if Pittsburgh was to get him, Terry McLaurin, he'd be the perfect number 2. Some could say he could be number 1 with DK Metcalf. But Metcalf would be your 1, he would be your 2. And Metcalf makes 5 years, $150 million? That's what they paid. That's what they paid for him to get him out of Seattle. So I don't think they'll do that because I think McLaurin he's gonna want a big contract too. But he would definitely make the game a lot easier for DK Metcalf. I'm sorry, DK Metcalf, and also Arron Rodgers. So pay attention to that. Terry McLaurin, the Washington Commanders, is not happy with his situation in DC. So I think it'll get fixed. I just can't see them. I can't see them letting him go, man. They need to find that money and pay him. He's too good of a receiver, and he doesn't cause problems. It'd be one thing if he was a George Pickett or Antonio Brown, and he was basically causing a lot of issues in the locker room, off the field. He's not doing that. He just wants his money. That's his only gripe right now. And he wants paid. He's outplayed his contract, he feels. And I think he has, to be honest, because before the quarterback came this past season, he was still doing what he did with bad quarterbacks. And then he got the new kid, the quarterback down there in DC, the rookie from last year, and it just all came to light that this guy is really good. So I don't know. Terry McLaurin he's a beast. He's fast. He got great catch radius. Runs great routes. Really good hands. He can outrun the defense. He'd make a great number 2 in Pittsburgh. I'm being selfish, but he'd make a great number 2 in Pittsburgh. But I don't think the Commanders will let him go. I think they'll get that worked out. I think they will. The other day, I did I usually don't do this, but I did a podcast, and during that podcast, I talked about Isaiah Bond out of Texas, who got in trouble. He got in trouble. Basically, he's accused of sexual misconduct with a young lady, and he was arrested in April, and he missed the draft due to it. He was at number 1. He was basically on the board, a lot of people's board, as a number 1 draft pick, and Pittsburgh and other teams had him number 1. If he's a 1, but he got into trouble, so he didn't even get drafted. He was locked up when the draft was taking place, and I misspoke because I heard I didn't do my homework. I should have did my homework, and I usually do, but I'm gonna retract that. Pittsburgh is very interested, but they did not sign him yet. Nobody has, but there's a lot of teams interested in him. Pittsburgh's one of them, but they're all waiting to see what his legal life leads, where it goes, where his legal life is going to lead him to see if he's going to either get found not guilty charges dropped, or if he goes to court, wins his case. So they're trying to figure that out because he's going to get a suspension coming into the league if he's found guilty, and even if he gets a probation. So they're waiting on that. Pittsburgh, they did say Pittsburgh jumped the gun and went ahead and signed him, but that wasn't true. The person who put that information out put bad information out. Yeah, they are interested, but they didn't sign him yet. He's still an unrestricted free agent. He is not in jail anymore. He did post a $25,000 bond, and he's out. But he hasn't been signed by anybody. But teams do want to sign. They do want to talk to him. They want to sign him because he's such a talent. But they're waiting to see what his legal stuff is going to be like before they do anything, before anybody makes a move. So, because that can backfire. You sign that guy, and if he starts, then you lose him midway through the season for, during a trial. You don't know if the trial's going to wait until after the season, or if they're going to, so he can miss games, things like that. You just don't know. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I misspoke on that, so I'm correcting that because I take pride in making sure my information is pretty accurate, or I don't like saying it. Basically, I talked about the NBA, but the major leagues. So the Major League American League, the Yankees, the Tigers, the Astros are basically winning in their division, in their conference. The Yankees, matter of fact, I'm going to go to the Yankees game. They play the Royals next week. They're number one in their division. The Tigers are pretty good. They're number one in theirs. And the Astros are number one in theirs. So they're the leaders in all three of their divisions in the American League. In the National League, you have the Cubs. Who else? The Cubs, the Mets, and who else? Who's the other team? Cubs, the Mets. I can't think of the other team right now. Oh, the Dodgers. The Los Angeles Dodgers. They're all winning their division in the National League. So it's still early, so things can change. But, usually baseball doesn't really heat up till after the All-Star break in July. So we'll see what happens then. But the Royals are like next to the bottom in their division. Pirates are last in their division. They both have really good players with the Royals, and Skeen, one of the top pitchers in the league, if not the top pitcher in the league, with the Pirates. So good young players, but teams are not that good. So but I'm gonna go watch the Royals play, and then in July I'm gonna go watch the Royals play the Pirates when the Pirates visit here in Kansas City in July. So that's something. But yeah, Yankees, Tigers, and Astros are winning in the American League in their divisions, and the Cubs, the Mets, and the Dodgers are winning in their division. So basically, NHL hockey for you hockey fans out there. I really don't pay attention to much hockey because I really don't know the game, but I understand it's the Stanley Cup, and there's people out there that want to hear and want to know about that. The Edmonton Oilers are leading 1-0 against the Florida Panthers right now, and they got number 2 coming up. The Oilers are pretty good, and so are the Panthers. But as far as knowing who's better, I don't watch the sport enough to know, but I think I'm going to pay attention just a little bit just to get some more information on it to make myself more knowledgeable. So stay tuned for that. Quindell Johnson. Now, this one is accurate. I went on ESPN.com and Bleacher Report. Pittsburgh did sign a unrestricted free agent. He was drafted in 2023. His name is Quindell Johnson. He's a quarterback. He basically from what I heard, he's pretty good, but he's an undrafted free agent. So he was released from the team that he was at before. So Pittsburgh signed him off the waiver wire. He could be a camp body, maybe a guy that gets a shot if he plays well. Maybe he makes the practice team. We'll see. But you always want to take your depth and add to it. You never know, especially with corners. People get hurt all the time, and Pittsburgh is going to be playing a man-to-man scheme. So yeah, he must be a man-to-man corner. So probably plays man a lot better, or he may play a slot. So I'm gonna read more up on it and find out. But his name is Quindell Johnson. Quindell Johnson. But basically, tonight's podcast is, as a Steeler fan, I'm pretty aware about Rodgers. I've been paying attention to that the whole time, and it's been on the news, NFL Network, ESPN, all the podcasts in Pittsburgh on YouTube and things like that since he announced his plans to fly into Pittsburgh tomorrow. So now there's, people were saying Pittsburgh was foolish for waiting on him and that he was playing him and he had no intentions on signing and that he was just trying to wait to see what Minnesota was going to do with McCarthy. I'm sorry. He was to see if McCarthy was healed and ready to go. Well, that nixes all that. Even though there's 24 hours, he still has to sign, but I'm hearing that from what they're saying that he's going to fly in the morning. So it'll be early in the morning. He'll catch a early morning flight, arrive in Pittsburgh. More than likely they'll pick him up. He'll go in, he'll sign. He's not big with the press, so I don't know how much information he'll get. But I can see the general manager, Omar Khan, Tomlin, Rooney, the owner. I can see them saying some things in the wide receiver coach, the quarterback coach, and the OC. You'll probably hear stuff from them. And from what I'm hearing, don't know how true it is. He already had the playbook, so they had everybody fooled. And Tomlin is really good at keeping. Most coaches are. They're good at keeping secrets. So now that's out the bag. Supposedly, when they met with him back in March, he met with the Giants, and he met with Pittsburgh. I think those are the only two organizations that he visited. Okay. Because he thought about staying in New York, so the Giants were looking for a quarterback. They wanted to talk to him, bring him in. But they ended up going the other way. And then Pittsburgh, he came into Pittsburgh and he spent like 6 hours with them, and then he left. Then he came back again. He snuck in. For y'all that don't know this was Pittsburgh news, and it was crazy. He snuck in. He flew into Allegheny County Airport, which is not the major airport in Pittsburgh. It's a smaller airport, not Pittsburgh International. That was purposely done. He didn't want to fly into Pittsburgh International because everybody probably would have recognized him and knew there was something up. So he flies into Allegheny Airport, gets there. Or no, actually it was Latrobe's Airport because we have three. There's three in Pittsburgh. You got the major one, which is Pittsburgh International. You got an airport in Latrobe, and then you have Allegheny County. So it was the Latrobe Airport out where Pittsburgh has whole summer practice at, Latrobe, Pennsylvania. And he rented a Malibu or some type of Chevy and drove into the facility under cloak and dagger and met with him again. And I think they said this time he was discussing contract terms, and then he left, didn't sign. But during that meeting, because he told New York Giants the same thing. During that meeting, he notified Pittsburgh again that he had some family issues. Some people very close to him were not doing well health-wise. I don't like to put this on people, but I keep hearing the word cancer. But I just know that they weren't doing well. And then there's a lot of people, we don't know, Arron Rodgers. People talk a lot of stuff on him, but he likes to give back. And him being from California with the wildfires, he had a lot of friends lose property. Houses went up in flames. So he was assisting with that too. And he said he couldn't give him a timetable right now, but he would keep in touch. He would keep in touch. He told both organizations that. Well, the Giants didn't wait. Giants didn't, either they didn't believe him or they were like, we're not taking that chance on him, So they went ahead and they signed Jameis Winston. Then they signed Russell, and then they drafted a quarterback. So, Pittsburgh said we'll wait, and they were fine with it. And basically the deal was, I'm going to sign with y'all. Just give me some time, and I'll be at mandatory minicamp. Well, I guess the national guys didn't know that, because one thing you can tell about reporters, especially these guys on ESPN and NFL Access, they get a tissy fit when they're not the first ones to be able to report stuff. And when you're not giving them any information they can't find out, it pisses them off, because they want to know, because it's news to them. And they want to be the first guy. Even the insiders, Schafter, he didn't know, and the other guy, he didn't know. They just kept hearing that he's going to sign with Pittsburgh. They don't know when. It might be right before when camp starts in July. Everybody kind of knew he wasn't coming to the voluntary workouts. That was a gimme, because he's totally against that. So, and that's not new news. Arron Rodgers is definitely against that type of stuff. But mandatory wise, he'll be there. And then he's been practicing with receivers from Pittsburgh. And the most notable one is DK Metcalf. And then the rumor was, too, that he wasn't happy with the opportunity that he had if he had to play with Pickens, because those two are like oil and water. So, I don't know if they made any concessions. I say if they sign Lazar, if they trade for Lazar, I say they did. And, Pickens probably got traded because Aaron didn't want to play with him, if they bring in a guy like that. But I don't think they'll call too many, he'll pull too many strings. He's not going to be able to do what he did to Saleh in New York. And it's not going to happen. And then the head coach at Florida, the head coach at the Green Bay, and our OC, Arthur Smith, were together in Tennessee. When LaFleur was the offense coordinator. And then he left and took the Green Bay job, and he wanted Arthur Smith to come with him, but Arthur Smith stayed behind, and they promoted him to OC. Rabel, who was the head coach at the time, said, no, I'm not losing him. And he promoted him to OC, and then a year or two later, he took the Atlanta job and became the head coach of Atlanta. That didn't work out, and now he's the OC in Pittsburgh. He is a decent OC. They're going to run the ball a lot, but with Arron Rodgers, that gives them the ability to back teams up, because if you put everybody up, he's going to kill you. So I don't think he'll play like the Arron Rodgers of old. He'll probably hand the ball off a lot and pass when needed. Or if he sees something, he'll make an audible, because he's very smart. His IQ is high. So they talk about the story where LaFleur's first year in Green Bay, they're playing somebody, and he's at the line of scrimmage, and seems like he's taking too long to get the play off, and he's changing the play. He's changing the play. He's seen something. He's changing the play. He's getting everybody in order. And LaFleur got nervous and called a timeout. And they said Arron Rodgers was livid, because he said, why did you call a timeout? I had that. I was doing it on purpose. I was changing the play. I had what I wanted. And that's when LaFleur said, from then on, I knew what I had. I had a Hall of Famer. So I think people are saying, oh, he's not going to be able to do that with Arthur Smith. No, Arthur Smith's he ain't going to let him go rogue, but he'll let him make changes because he's not going to make too many bad changes at the line of scrimmage. He's good at that. He's good at coming down and coming out the huddle and dissecting your defense, and picking away at it and finding weak spots. So I think they'll be okay. Will they go to the Super Bowl? I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but I'm realistic. Arron Rodgers, he's signing a 1-year deal. This is a bridge. Pittsburgh has all those comp picks. They're going to try to draft a rookie quarterback, Lenore Sellers. Remember that name. And that's just my opinion. I hope they get him. And basically, he's just there to make sure they need to get a playoff. And man, they've been to the playoffs 5 straight years without a win, one and done. And then that's not sitting too well with Pittsburgh's fan base, But they're not being realistic either, because Pittsburgh is one of the only teams, if not the only team, in the NFL who tries to win while rebuilding. Everybody else will bomb and they'll go 3 and whatever, 5 and whatever, and get high in the draft. Pittsburgh refuses to do that. They try to win every year. Every year they try to win without a quarterback. So think about this. He's been to the playoffs 5 straight times since Ben Roethlisberger has retired, and he's lost. Okay, they went with Pickett. They lost. Then they went another time. And they lost. And they went with who they go with? Oh, Mason Rudolph, and they lost. And then last year they lost with Russell. They get to the playoffs, but they don't have a quarterback. Now they got one. Because anybody who says that Russell's better than Arron Rodgers, you don't know. That's your opinion, but you don't know football. He's not the quarterback that Arron Rodgers is. And if you can win 10 games like Russell did, with the help of Justin Fields, because he was 4-2 before he got benched for Russell Wilson. He was 4-2. So they end up going 10-7, but they lost those last 5 games in a row, right? And they still made the playoffs. Arron Rodgers, they have a better team this year. Pittsburgh has a better team. Their offensive line's a year older. They have a really good offensive line. They're just young, but they're growing, and they're not rookies anymore. So basically, barring injury, that should be pretty solid. They're going to win more games than Russell Wilson did. He's going to win more games, or at least the same. So he'll go 10-7, or somewhere between 11 or 12 wins. Now the key is when he gets to the playoffs, can he get a win? Now I know Pittsburgh. He gets to the playoffs, everybody gonna be screaming Super Bowl. I don't buy it. I just think that we're still a year away, depending on who you draft at quarterback. But the nucleus of players are there, and I think this is it for Cam Haywood. I think that he'll retire, and after this season, or maybe next year. It depends on how the season goes. But I can see him retiring after this season, after 2025. I think he'll stop. He'll be it. But so they're trying to get one for him. And they're trying to get as far in the playoffs for him. That's not a secret. Minka Fitzpatrick contract. He's getting older. His contract is up and down. So people say, "Oh, he's not the same player." No, Pittsburgh got him playing center field. He plays like 25, 30 yards off the ball to make sure no one, the rookie corner, who was a rookie at the time, JP, Joey Porter Jr., and whoever else is on the other side, because they've been bringing in corners off the street. Well, not off the street, but from other teams the last 2 years. So this year they got my man out of Philadelphia. He's a lockdown corner. He's pretty good. So I think that'll be fine, and Nico will start crawling back up. He'll start easing back up and playing in his normal safety position. So but they're thinking about maybe, is he going to get that third big contract? I don't know. So who knows? But so I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. I think just to have a good year, get to the playoffs, it'll be great. If they don't, they don't, because this ain't their year anyway. My feelings is towards that is if you make the playoffs and you lose your first game, why are you going? If you know you can't win. Like I knew last year they weren't going to beat Baltimore. Everybody knew it. They weren't going to win. Russell I don't know what happened to him. He aged over the season. He looked totally different. If you watch any highlights from when he started playing, once he came in for Justin Fields to the end of the season, he looked totally different. It looked like he lost a step. So I'm waiting to see what he does in New York with the Giants. I think that was a mistake, to be honest. But they wanted a veteran. So, and then they got Jameis though too. So they got Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, who's the presumed starter. If something happens to Russell, you can lean on Jameis. And then if it goes bad with both of them, they got the rookie. So the guy out of Louisville. So I think he's out of Louisville. Pretty sure he is. So we'll see what happens. So understand that. But we're community-based, man. We're a community-based podcast. As I speak about this stuff, lately I've been doing a lot of administrative stuff with the LLC. Now I'm working on my nonprofit, things like that, and also to just grow the podcast and grow the media group, period. So it's something that I'm doing that's bigger. I'm getting big with this. I'm building it up. So, like I said, I have my new website, bigjsportsmedia.com, under the umbrella of Big J's National Media Sports Group. And I have stuff on YouTube. I have my stuff on X, formerly Twitter, clips on Instagram and TikTok, things of that nature. So I download the videos on there and I make up clips and put them on there so people can see them. And I started a new promo. So it's like a commercial. You'll start seeing, people have already commented on it and said, "Hey, Jay, that looks good." The animated versions from my podcast, short 40-second to 30-second clips, sometimes maybe a minute. And it'll just give you a real brief synopsis of what's going to be talked about on the podcast, or what it was talked about on the podcast, because I've been, putting those out there and doing pretty good. And I'm growing my podcast. So we got the financial literacy. We're going to have the community-based medical outreach about organs and things of that nature, with the Kidney Foundation, the Liver Foundation, the Heart Foundation, spreading awareness. Also, I'm going to work with other groups, other community-based groups around the city, Kansas City, Missouri. One being Village of KC. So I look forward to that. And then my guy, Jerry McNeil, he's having his first big football camp, June 28th. And I'll be on location out there with a podcast. And it's community-based. I don't need a dime. I'm just doing it on the strength of the kids. So it's just something that I enjoy doing, and I'm trying to give back as much as I can, as much as possible. So contact me at jmjjenn66@gmail.com or jmjjen1012 1021, I'm sorry, .com, gmail.com. That's JMJJENN 1021 at gmail.com. So you can contact me there. You can give me any feedback on the podcast. You can also, if you want any, if there's questions you want to ask me about the next podcast for all sports related, whether it be about the Chiefs, whether it be about the Royals, whether it be about the Steelers, whether it be about basketball, you have any comments, just keep them clean or I'm not going to read them, you know. So, and I'll read them on the air, you know. And then now I'm working on merch too. So I'm working on merch. I'll start out probably with just t-shirts and I'll move to hoodies when the wintertime comes. All sports related. If you look up in the right-hand corner or my left-hand corner, you'll see my all sports related emblem. And so one of the shirts will be that color, orange, with all sports related on it. And I'll have different colors. But right now I'll probably just start with that, you know. So, hey, everybody, I'm going to get off of here, man. And let you go ahead and get some rest and get ready to get up in the morning and enjoy your day tomorrow. And have a great weekend. And I'll see you Sunday night with the podcast after the OKC game. Okay. Thank you. Oh, make sure you like and subscribe.